واعتصموا بحبل الله جميعا ولا تفرقوا واذكروا نعمة الله عليكم إذ كنتم أعداء فألف بين قلوبكم فأصبحتم بنعمته إخوانا.
الحمد لله تعالى نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله تعالى من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. يا ربنا لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك ولعظيم سلطانك. سبحانك لا نحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك. لك الحمد كله ولك الشكر كله على ما أنعمت وأوليت وتفضلت يا رب العالمين. اللهم كما أنعمت فأدم وزدنا من نعمك واجعلنا من الشاكرين. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله الملك الحق المبين، وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله وصفيه وخليله، أرسله رحمة للعالمين وهدى وبشرى للمحسنين، فبلغ الرسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وتركنا على المحجة البيضاء ليلها كنهارها لا يزيغ عنها إلا هالك. وصل اللهم عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن اهتدى بهديه واتبع سنته واقتفى أثره بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد روى الإمام الترمذي في سننه وابن ماجه والبخاري في الأدب المفرد بسند حسن عن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أنه قال: من أصبح منكم آمنا في سربه معافا في بدنه عنده قوت يومه فكأنما حيزت له الدنيا بحذافيرها. It's been narrated in Sunan al-Tirmidhi and Ibn Majah and Al-Adab al-Mufrad by Imam al-Bukhari in a sound chain of transmitters that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever amongst you wake up with safety in his community and with a healthy body, and he has the food for the day, as if the whole world has been brought forward to him. In this very hadith we see that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is emphasizing on the favors of Allah which He bestowed upon humanity. We take sometimes these favors for granted and we do not reflect upon them. But the Prophet ﷺ, he is reminding us about these favors. And in favor number one, safety and security. And no wonder why it was the first supplication of Ibrahim alayhi salam, رب اجعل هذا بلدا آمنا وارزق أهله من الثمرات. So in his supplication, Ibrahim alayhi salam, he asked Allah Azza wa Jal, my Lord, make this land a peaceful land and provide for its dwellers fruits and provisions. So he put forward safety before food, safety before provisions. And no wonder why we have as well in Sharia, in our lunar calendar, the Islamic calendar, the four which well known as sacred months or Al-Ashhur Al-Hurum. To again and again emphasize the importance of safety and security. Because in these months, you cannot start fight, you cannot transgress, you cannot do any of these matters. It's just safety and peace for the worshippers to go and worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whether in Rajab for Umrah or in Dhul Qa'dah or Dhul Hijjah or Muharram for Hajj. Securing the ibadah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prescribed punishments for those whoever disturbs security and peace in the community as a deterrent, to deter them from putting people under threat or under fear. And this is why we see as well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَلْيَعْبُدُوا رَبَّ هَذَا الْبَيْتِ. Let them worship the Lord of this house. الَّذِي أَطْعَمَهُم مِّن جُوعٍ, who fed them against hunger. وَآمَنَهُم مِّنْ خَوْفٍ, and provided them with security against fear. So it's a crucial element in our religion, safety and security. And you cannot seek your rizq without security. You cannot do your job without security and peace. You cannot do your ibadah without security and peace. And so on and so forth. We see it's one of the necessities of Sharia, top priorities of Sharia, to provide people with safety and security and peace. So the Prophet ﷺ in this very hadith, he's saying, "Man asbaha aminan fi sirbi." Whoever wakes up in the morning safely, peacefully. There's no threat, there's no war, there's no fear. Then this is one of the best favors Allah bestowed upon you. And we've seen around us, especially these days, what's happening in the Muslim world. No peace, no security, no safety. May Allah bring back safety and security to all Muslims and all people around the world. So whoever wakes up with this peace and security in his community, sirbihi in Arabic means, as the commentators mentioned, 2 or 3 things. It might be sirbihi himself, it might be sirbihi his family and his community. And the third meaning, it might be his path, i.e. whilst he's traveling or coming back, he has this security provided for him and he's living in peace. So if you witness this, if you are living this peace, then you should be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you have it in the first place as any provision Allah has bestowed upon us. But you have something might disturb it. As Allah stated in the verses of the Quran, the example of the peaceful city, which was living in peace, and they've been provided with all provisions from all directions, abundantly. And then they did not appreciate this. They rebelled against the Lord. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punished. So the disturbance of the peace which they were living in is their rebellion against Allah. So if we have peace and security and safety, it might not last if we were not complying with His commands, if we were not grateful to His favors. So in order to keep the peace amongst us, we need to comply with Allah's commands subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the Prophet ﷺ is reminding all of us, and especially those who are heedless, who are not aware of these favors, although they are living in these favors. If you have this peace in your life, be grateful. And the second favor which the Prophet ﷺ is drawing our attention to it is al-afiyah. Mu'afan fi badan. You wake up and you have intact body. You have healthy body. We take it for granted. You move your hand, it moves. You open your eyes, you see. You walk on your feet. You can taste things, you can smell it, you can eat, you can drink. These are for granted. But guess what? There are many people who lost these senses. Many people who cannot walk. Many people who cannot move their hands. Paralyzed. So if we were to wake up every day with this healthy body, then we need to be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Grateful for these favors. And the best ni'mah after Iman is al-afiyah. Healthy body. Best ni'mah after Iman. And when Aisha asked the Prophet ﷺ, if I've witnessed Laylatul Qadr, what sort of dua should I make? And he directed Aisha ﷺ to say, Oh Allah, you are all forgiving, loves forgiveness, so forgive me. So this is one side of the story. Al-Abbas, when he came to the Prophet ﷺ and he asked, O Messenger of Allah, give me a special dua. You know, I'm your uncle, so you should give me something special. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, Ya Abbas, Ya Amma Rasulillah. O Abbas, the uncle of the Messenger of Allah. Ask Allah al-afu, forgiveness, and al-afiyah. This is the other story, the other part of the story. So afu on one side, al-afiyah on the other side. Is that it? Yes. And he came back next day. He said, give me a special dua, as if he wasn't satisfied with the previous dua. And then the Prophet ﷺ repeated. You ask Allah al-afu and al-afiyah. Forgiveness and health, good health. And the third time he asked, Prophet ﷺ, he said, you will never be given something better than these two. That's it. Because, and the scholars commented on that very hadith by saying that this is min jawami' al-kalim. the comprehensive speech which he has been given is being summed up in particular statements from him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And this is one of them. Al-afu wal-afu. Short words, if you were to explain, you need volumes. Afu, forgiveness, you secured the akhirah, the hereafter. And al-afiyah, good health, you secured the dunya. Because without good health, you can't do anything. So the Prophet ﷺ is reminding us that if you have peace in your life, then you should be grateful for that and do not disturb this peace. If you have good health, be grateful for that and do not disturb this by rebelling against Allah and utilizing what He has given to you to sin, to go against His commands. Don't. And the third favor which he mentioned, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, عنده قوت يومه. You have the food for the day. How many of us have food for the year, not for the day? Plenty. So the Prophet ﷺ, he's directing us towards gratefulness. Because it's a very common practice to be ungrateful. Many people are not satisfied with what they have been given. They are always asking for more. So contentment is not on the list. Greed instead. So if you have something satisfactory and good, and it's enough for you, you need more. And this is what makes us sometimes ungrateful, because we do not have contentment. And the consumerism mentality which we have, the media which we are poisoned with, the advertisements all the way through, it's creating in us mentality of ungratefulness, mentality of greed. And then we tend to forget that, alhamdulillah, we have more than enough, more than the food for the day. So we should be very grateful to Allah Azza wa Jal and always be content with what we have. Because contentment makes you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and greed makes you away from Allah Azza wa Jal. So we need to remind ourselves about these favors. And at the end of the hadith, Prophet ﷺ finished with فَكَأَنَّمَا حِيزَتْ لَهُ الدُّنْيَا بِحَذَافِيرِهَا. Imam al-Munawi commented on that, and he said, these favors, it sums up everything you can get out of this dunya. Imagine that as if, because the hadith is saying كَأَنَّمَا حِيزَتْ لَهُ الدُّنْيَا. Imagine that you have the ownership of the whole world. It's under your possession. What do you get out of it? Peace, good health, and what sustains you to live. What do you need more than that? So the one who owns this whole world, assume that a person, he can't get more than this. So and you have it already. You have the food for the day, you have your health, alhamdulillah, and you have peace. So why you are so nagging all the way through? Why we are ungrateful? So we need to establish and re-establish again gratefulness and shukr and hamd to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all what we have been given. And in order to keep it with us, we have to utilize it and use it in what pleases Allah Azza wa Jal. Otherwise, punishment is around the corner waiting for those who rebel. So we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to keep us on the straight path and give us good understanding for His book and the sunnah of His Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. الحمد لله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على النبي المصطفى وعلى آله وصحبه ومن بعهده وفقه. There's another topic now which we are in a few days or probably today that schools will break for around 2 weeks. Our children will go all over the place. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, seize 5 things before 5. I won't comment on the 5 things, I'll just comment on one thing. And he said, ﷺ, اغتنم 5 قبل 5. فراغك قبل شغلك. So seize the opportunity of the free time which you have before you are very occupied. And now 2 weeks. So we need to plan together with our children to utilize their time in beneficial issues, beneficial good things. Not on the gadgets and on PS4 and PS what have you. And we need to plan the vacation. We need to plan something useful for us and for them. It's not enough just because you can't hear their voices, that's fine. They are on the telly or they are on the gadgets or on the laptops or the laptops, what have you. We need to be productive. And this is the time which Allah will ask you about on the Day of Judgment. Our life is our time. So let's work together towards beneficial 2 weeks with our children, inshallah ta'ala. Not just education, as well fruitful entertainment, helpful entertainment, good entertainment, educational entertainment, something useful. So just put this in mind because it's our duty to remind ourselves about what will benefit us in this world and the hereafter, inshallah ta'ala. Allahumma ya Rabbi ya Rahman, ya Badi'a as-samawati wal-ard, يا ذا الجلال والإكرام اللهم إنا نسألك العفو والعافية اللهم إنا نسألك العفو والعافية اللهم إنا نسألك العفو والعافية والمعافاة الدائمة في الدين والدنيا والآخرة اللهم لا تدع لنا ذنبا إلا غفرته ولا هما إلا فرجته ولا دينا إلا قضيته ولا مريضا إلا شفيته ولا ضالا إلا هديته ولا عدوا إلا هلكته اللهم إنا نسألك أن تفرج الكرب عن المكروبين ونفس الهم عن المهمومين اللهم كن مع إخواننا في سوريا وفي لبنان وفي فلسطين وفي العراق كن مع إخواننا في مصر كن مع إخواننا في اليمن كن مع إخواننا في كل مكان يا رب العالمين اللهم ارفع مقتك وغضبك عنا ولا تؤاخذنا بما فعل السفهاء منا اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى وإذا أردت بعبادك فتنة فاقبضنا إليك غير مفتونين ثبتنا بقولك الثابت في الحياة الدنيا وفي الآخرة اللهم ثبتنا بقولك الثابت في الحياة الدنيا وفي الآخرة اللهم اجمعنا بنبيك المصطفى صلى الله عليه وسلم تحت لوائه الميمون واسقنا من يده الشريفة شربة لا نظمأ بعدها أبدا مولانا رب العالمين اغفر لنا ولوالدينا ولمن علمنا ولمن له حق علينا ولمن أحسن إلينا ولمن أسأنا إليه صلي وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وآله وصحبه أجمعين عباد الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون اذكروا الله العظيم يذكركم واشكروه على نعمه يزدكم ولذكر الله أكبر. الله يعلم ما تصنعون.